So here's the question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Did you think your ex was the one? Did you see that
There
person?
was a time, yes. Yeah, there was a time.
And what happened? The next person you married?
That was a good one. That was a setup.
Speak for yourself.
Oh, okay. That was a setup. That was a good one, though.
Was it not the truth?
Hey, everyone. I'm K.A. Will.
And I'm Gabby.
And we are K&G Culture. And as you guys know, we came up with that name because we realized early on that we are responsible for the culture in our household and the culture in our marriage.
Yes. So we hope that with our intentional videos and transparent podcast, that we will help to talk or discuss topics to help you guys have open conversations in your marriage and in your life with your partner, so that as you go through your marriage journey, like, you guys are intentional and knowing, having some advice in these podcasts.
So welcome to another episode of our marriage journey. And, you know, we discuss a lot about relationships, and I think a lot of times there's a question that people ask. And you want to share that question?
Is that the way to do it? All right. Is there the one? Is there oh gosh.
Does everyone have? That's what you want to say?
No. The one is there.
So the way I understood it,
question.
the way I understood.
Oh, I'm looking for the one, but is there really one?
Right. So the way I understood it is, does everyone have the one? Is there one person out there for everyone? Is that really what you want to say?
Sure.
Yeah. I guess almost like soulmate. Everybody's like, oh, that's my soulmate. Do we all have a soulmate? That type of deal?
So I definitely was like, yes, because from the church perspective, we're like, you know, you date for the intent of marriage, so you find that one person, and then you guys are together forever. And as I learned through life, I'm like, you know what? Truly, there is not the one. I don't think so. I think that is a commercial scheme. Just kidding. Just kidding. I think it was a way to try to get people to, like, stay monogamous and to
that's interesting.
Yeah, to stay with one person and never divorce. I'm thinking, but I don't think there's any biblical reference or evidence. And people be having relationships and they get along with different people. Or if your spouse passes away, you find somebody else. Is that person the one? Was their spouse the one? Should you even be married to that other person because they weren't the one because their spouse passed away?
So
it's the whole thing.
Do you think maybe then is that you start off with commonalities and then that person grows into being the one? Like over time, because of a relationship, you develop, you grow, you naturally, to me, you draw closer.
Mm-hmm.
And is that what people see as becoming the one? Like, you grow into that person.
Right.
So, for example, like, I truly believe that we all have a story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have a story, you have, you know, your testimony, I have a story, I have a testimony. And there are certain things that we were all put on this earth to do.
Okay.
And only you can do that thing.
Right.
But if you choose not to do it,
mm-hmm.
then somebody with a similar story or with similar gifts and talents,
mm-hmm.
whatever, is going to come along and do it.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So maybe for a time you can be the one. I think that's what you were saying with, hey, what about if your spouse dies?
Right.
And then you end up marrying somebody else and that person is wonderful as well.
Correct.
So I think, and this is my point of view, that maybe you can just grow into being the one, even if you don't start off as the one.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think that you find someone that you have a lot in common, that you guys say, you know what, I can grow with you, or I can, you are worth me
putting in this time and effort.
And work.
You worth it.
You hear people be in a relationship for 5 years, like before marriage, dating for 5 years, and then they break up and then find somebody else, and I'm like, well, did they break up with the one? Because I know they were saying that person was the one. And I think it's just that maybe you grew apart, or you find that this person is not someone I think that I can grow with, or maybe this person never had goodwill towards me, or like kind of basic stuff, goodwill, and that you guys can get along. Like if you don't think y'all gonna get along and you guys can do 5, 10, 20 years together, which is hard to imagine, mind you. Like I'm not saying that that's what I did. I said, oh yes, I can see me being with Kareem for 50 years. Who knows what that looks like? But is there a good frame? Maybe say 7 years. If you can see yourself being together for 7 years, make it to the 7-year itch, then you should be good. But I just think there are a lot of people out there who you have in common with a lot of them, that either one of those people that you could be married with if you guys both have the same goal of staying in it.
So, but something you said be together for a long time, 5, 10 years, don't get married, then they break up. What I find, and I think we've talked about this before, is for some reason, after somebody gets out of a long relationship, the very next person they get with, they get married. That's usually what we see. That's usually the case that I've seen. Yeah. Like, people be together forever.
And y'all know they get married.
And your friends, your friends and family, like, ooh, they're about to get married. Then, something happened, and life happens.
Right.
They don't get along, they break up, whatever. But the very next person they get with, that marriage is coming. So that's what I see.
Or baby is coming.
Okay.
So
that's another one.
So here's a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Did you think your ex was the one? Did you see that
There
person?
was a time, yes. Yeah, there was a time.
And what happened? The next person you married?
That was a good one. That was a setup.
Speak for yourself.
Oh, okay. That was a setup. That was a good one, though.
Was it not the truth? What did I say last video? Honesty is the best policy.
Okay.
And assertiveness. See, I'm growing in myself.
Okay, but to be honest, open, there was a girlfriend before that. So I didn't marry the one after.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So
that's fair.
I got to clear myself. She tried to set me up. So I didn't marry the one.
Did you really count it, though? Oh, okay. I'm just kidding.
Yes, I did. So anyway.
Sorry to anyone who's like, just joking.
Yeah, this is the real Gabby. So anyway, so I didn't marry the next girl.
No,
I mean, it was serious, but
you're fine.
Yeah. So, but we do see that it is a trend, like something that can trend.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess now the next question would be, and it's kind of similar, because some people say the one, some people say soulmate. Like, what does that mean? And do you think there is such a thing as a soulmate?
Listen, I was listening to Ty Dolla $ign, Music, Soul Child, Black. There was somebody else on that song, and it says, just your turn. Like, some people are there for a season, a reason, and then they were with someone else for a season, a reason. Like, it's just your turn to be with that person. So I understand the sentiments of that song. I'm not saying that that's completely what I just say. Everyone has their turn with someone else, but you just, I don't know. Maybe there is the one, and maybe there is a soulmate. I haven't had that many relationships. I've only had one relationship, and I married him. So one would think that I would like be gung ho that there's the one, but there's the one. That just sounds so off. But there's a soulmate. But yeah, maybe you should be asking yourself questions like, do you feel like you found your soulmate? Do you feel like you found your soulmate in me?
That is developing. That's just an honest answer.
It's an answer I did not expect.
No, like I said, I really believe that you grow, like the closer and closer, like as time goes on, like it's definitely a yes. Because it's like, and I never, again, that's why people have so many different opinions on this. Like, I never looked at it that way. Like, oh, this person is soulmate.
Really?
That wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
That's why I said, to me, I realized from being in previous relationships that you grow with that person. And that might be part of the problem. Going back to expectations. People are expecting, when I get with this person right now, they're going to be the one right now. Like, I'm getting with you right now because you the one right now. And I'm like, that's a lot of pressure on that person Because if they do one thing wrong, here we go again with that. So the expectations. So I think that's why I kind of have a different view on that based on the experience. That you actually grow with that person. Because you could be saying, because what happens? We hear somebody using that same example. Oh, he the one, girl. He the one. Or telling your guy friends, listen, she the one, blah, 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 whatever. And then 2 weeks later, they not together. So maybe part of that is the expectation. Part of that is the pressure. But the other thing is that even proves my point even more that, man, as you're with somebody, you have quality time. You put in, like you said, the work and the effort, getting to know that person, being yourself and knowing that they accept you as well. You grow into that soulmate. You grow into that one. But starting off just like that, yeah.
I wonder if it also was a ploy or a strategy to get people to realize that if you call this person the one, that you guys go through everything together. Going back to the vows.
Oh, like telling them you're not going nowhere? That's what they tell them?
No. Like a strategy, up high. I mean, not up high, but like, I don't know who. Marriage gurus or whoever was calling people the
Oh, you mean like society?
Yeah.
Okay,
sure.
okay.
So that you should stay with that person no matter what. So for richer or poor, for better or worse, in sickness and in health. So I can understand from that perspective. Yes, I see the good in that because it teaches, or hopefully the message is that you guys will go through stuff, but it doesn't change that person from fundamentally being your soulmate or the one.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Almost like discipline and commitment.
Yes. And then
yeah, okay.
I think about people who are in arranged marriages, and I don't know how. Well, the research is that they stay together longer. So I'm like, did the parents, everybody know that they were the one? Was there a sign in the stars, or they just found somebody who's compatible, who has, who came from good parents, good background, and said, "All right, you guys should be able to make it." So I'm like, can anyone just make it together and it will just be fine? But I don't know if there's cheating and abuse. I hear there's a lot of abuse, especially since it's older men with younger women, or sometimes even children. God help us. But you hear stories of abuse. You hear stories of maybe of people cheating. So I don't know if they're healthy long-term marriages. I know they made it a long time, but who knows if they're healthy.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So what am I saying? What am I saying? I'm saying that I don't think there's the one soulmate.
Yeah. Wow. So yeah, it's very interesting to hear different point of views on that. I definitely think as you get older, because again, when I think about, you have people who have been married, right? Had a whole life, like say from their 20s up until their 50s. Divorce, or the spouse die, or whatever happens. So that part of their life is over in some sense. They meet somebody new, and it is wonderful. Like and of course they've learned a lot of lessons along the way, like from their first marriage, their first marriage that lasted 10, 15, 20 years, whatever. And now they're in this new marriage at an older age. Your perspective is way different. It's you look at life differently. Your values are different. What's important when you were 20 when you got married is definitely not the same things that are important if you get married at the age of 50. It's not the same thing.
What's mine is mine. I am set in my ways.
Listen, and when you get old, it's just like, listen, I know.
Sometimes I even get married.
Yeah, listen, I'm not. That is very true. I've seen that where like older people just live together. They know they're in a relationship.
Right.
And to them, marriage, they don't need to go and do that because who's coming? Because we old. We ain't got to do that all over again. So I think that's very interesting that, and again, that you just grow along the way. Your values change. In some ways, like we talked about in previous videos, you're an entirely different person. You are not the same person. At least I hope, God, that we are not going to be the same people at age 20 be that same person at age 50 and 60.
Shoot, and the person that you married after your first relationship probably wasn't even prepared to be that person when you were in your 20s.
Right. Neither one of y'all was prepared.
Yeah. So it makes me think, or it makes me want, it inspires me to say, be careful when you're dating. Like, some people feel like they have to date everyone, whatever. But, well, let me say this. Be careful who you marry. Like, watch out for those red flags. Don't get caught up in, oh, he must be the one because he's the first relationship. Or,
speak for yourself.
I know.
I was
thinking that what you said. I was like, oh, shoot. But we did date for 3 years. We knew each other for 2 years.
And we knew each other before that.
Correct. Yeah, we knew each other for 2 years. We dated for 3 years.
Right.
And got married in 6 weeks. You know, who's counting? But we did take time.
That was our journey. That was our marriage journey.
Yep. We did take time to know each other.
Right.
Like, we did take time. Like, I feel like sometimes the church have you be like, oh, y'all cute. Y'all little cute. When you're 16, y'all destined to be married. But that's not necessarily
true.
true.
They could be setting you up for failure.
Right, because just because y'all only got 2 girls at church and 1 guy, like it's such a small sample size.
No other young people at the church.
Right, and like there's not a life outside of the church. Like it's literally a building with only a few. You know what I mean? Like just because y'all, but it worked out for us. So let me just say, take your time. Take your time. Take your time.
Right.
Take your time.
Yeah.
And unless your culture is arranged marriage, you know, I am definitely not speaking towards that. I'm speaking towards love relationships, love marriages. But like, get to know people. So get to look at those red flags. Yeah, like think about what your red flags are. What can you deal with? Can you deal with this person doing this?
Yeah, so then it brings me to something else. So at the end, like say someone was in I guess it doesn't matter if it's long, but a relationship that has had some time. Let's say at least 9 months to a year. Because we already used the example where, and this can apply to those who've had 2 relationships, 3 or 5 year relationships, and then they break up. So, I've heard a lot of times that people start asking questions at the end, like, what did I do wrong? What else? What's another one? I thought we could have pushed through this or whatever.
There's something we could have done differently.
Yeah, what could we have done differently? I thought she was the one. I thought he was the one. We were doing good up until this happened. So all these questions at the end where, like, you get to voice how you feel, the other person gets to voice how they feel. And to me, if those things had been communicated early on in the relationship, you wouldn't be asking them at the end.
Could have been more. Could have worked and could have been soulmates.
So it's like to me that goes back to communication. Like when you really think about not just communication, yes, but being open and free and vulnerable enough to have those conversations. Like those conversations weren't had when you were in the relationship. It was more about, feeling good, like having a good time, going out. But was there really a substance there where you can say, man, I can say this to that person. This is honestly how I feel. And I know that they're going to receive it. And vice versa. Were they free enough to say, oh, I can say this to you and be vulnerable and know that, hey, you're going to receive it. So to me, some of those questions that you ask at the end of a relationship should have been asked during or at the beginning of the relationship.
Yeah, it makes me think of last year when we had our troubles, like, because we both didn't feel like we could be honest about how we felt. Or felt like the other person wouldn't hear us or understand. Right.
That's true.
Yeah, a lot of assumptions. I feel like, in life we just make a lot of assumptions and we're gonna
end up hurting us.
Yeah, exactly.
End up putting us in a bad place. Yeah. Miscommunication because of those assumptions.
It's like why aren't you reading my mind? You should know this by now. And no, you either have to repeat it or
We're
this
both
is something
guilty
new
of
that
that.
you need to tell the person.
Yeah, yeah, we're both guilty.
Well,
of
I'm
that.
speaking. That's what I say. Why aren't you reading my mind?
Oh,
Why don't
boy.
you know? You should know this already. I gave you plenty of signs. I never said it directly to you. I didn't use words, but I gave you signs.
Oh, say that. That's a big one. We think if we give little signs, we don't have to say it directly. We think if we give little signs to our spouse, that we don't have to say it directly, and that's not good communication. It's just not.
Yeah.
So.
Gotta keep repeating.
Oh man, this is awesome. Thank you. So guys, we're gonna end it here. We want to say thank you once again to our culture family. This has been another episode of our marriage journey. That man, we hope it helps you guys. We hope you guys are inspired. That you engage in conversation. All right. I'm K.A. Will.
And I'm Gabby.
See you guys later.